No one ever believed that humans could be dangerous.
No one ever believed that humans could be dangerous. For thousands of years, the Galactic Union watched Earth from far away, calling it a small blue world full of noise, chaos, and weak creatures. They studied humans and laughed. "They fight each other," the alien leaders said. "They will never fight us." But everything changed the day the sky burned. It started as a quiet morning on the Earth colony of New Gaia, a small settlement built for peace between humans and alien traders. Ships came and went every day, exchanging food, water, and technology. People smiled. Children ran through metal streets under silver towers. The world felt safe. Then the stars began to move. A strange shadow covered the colony's sun. At first, people thought it was a storm. Then the scanners screamed. Hundreds of warships appeared above the planet. They belonged to the Zarketh Empire, one of the oldest and cruelest alien races in the galaxy. Their leader, Commander Vrel, had one goal: to erase humanity before it could grow strong. The Galactic Council did not interfere. To them, humans were still weak animals. "It will be quick," they said. "The Zarketh will teach them their place." They were wrong. When the first Zarketh ships opened fire, the sky turned red. Metal towers fell like trees and shockwaves rolled through the valleys. Thousands of people ran for the shelters, but many never made it. In the chaos, a single transmission escaped the colony. "This is New Gaia. We are under attack. Anyone who can hear us, help." No answer came. Amid the smoke and falling buildings, a young girl named Aria Vale crawled out from under the ruins of her school. She was 16, her face covered in dust, her heart racing. She had never held a weapon before. She had never seen death so close. But she saw something that day, something no one else did. From the sky, strange lights fell like rain. Not fire, not metal, pure energy, the kind that hummed deep inside her chest when she looked up. She felt it calling her name. Aria didn't understand what was happening. Her father was gone, her mother missing. All she had was a small data bracelet her father gave her before the war, a device from ancient Earth said to hold forgotten human secrets. The Zarketh soldiers landed soon after. Tall, gray-skinned, their armor alive with red light, their weapons buzzing like storms. They searched through the rubble, capturing survivors for experiments. When they found Aria, she froze. A soldier aimed his blaster at her. His cold eyes reflected her tiny, trembling shape. "Weak species," he hissed. No threat, but before he could shoot, her bracelet glowed. A wave of white light exploded around her, throwing the alien backward. The ground cracked. The air screamed. Aria felt power flow through her veins, hot, endless, and alive. She didn't know it yet, but something deep within her had awakened. Something older than any alien empire. Something purely human. When the smoke cleared, the soldier was gone, burned into dust. Aria stood alone, her heartbeat echoing louder than the explosions. Around her, other aliens stepped back in fear. "Impossible," one of them whispered. "She's human." That moment changed everything. The war that began as an invasion would become something far greater, a war of survival, of discovery, and of truth. As the colony burned, Aria ran through the wreckage, helping whoever she could. She carried children to safety, fought through fire, and followed the strange glow that guided her steps. Each time she was cornered, the light returned, protecting her, shaping itself into shields and bursts of energy. Word began to spread across the battlefield. "There's a human girl. She's fighting back." To the aliens, it was madness. To humans, it was hope. Commander Vrel watched the reports from his ship above the planet. "A single girl destroyed a strike squad?" He growled. "Impossible." But when he saw the footage, white light, alien soldiers vaporized, and a small human girl standing in the middle of it all, he felt something the Zarketh had never known before: fear. Aria didn't understand what she had become. She only knew that her people were dying and that she couldn't stop. Every time she fought, the power inside her grew stronger. Every scream, every explosion, every heartbeat made the light brighter. She looked up at the alien ships that filled the sky and whispered, "You started this war. Now face what you've awakened." The Galactic Union watched from afar, silent. For the first time, they began to question everything they believed about humans. Maybe the fragile species from the blue planet wasn't harmless after all. And far beyond the stars, hidden sensors began to flicker. ancient human satellites waking after centuries of sleep, responding to the same signal that pulsed inside Aria Vale's heart. The war had just begun. The night after the first attack, New Gaia was almost gone. Smoke covered the stars. The ground glowed red where buildings used to be. The air smelled of dust and burning metal. Aria Vale sat inside the ruins of an old storage bay. Her clothes were torn, her hands shaking, her heart still beating too fast. She didn't remember how she got there. She only remembered the light, the energy that burst out of her bracelet, saving her life and destroying everything around her. Her body still hummed with strange warmth, like a heartbeat that wasn't hers. She looked at her hands, half afraid, half curious. What am I?" she whispered. A small sound came from behind her. She turned quickly and saw a little boy hiding behind a crate. His face was dirty, his eyes wide with fear. Are you going to hurt me?" he asked. Aria shook her head fast. "No, I'm like you, human. What's your name?" "Leo," he said in a trembling voice. "My mom. She didn't make it." Aria's heart sank. She moved closer, wrapping her arm around him. "It's okay, Leo. I'll protect you." Outside, the war still raged. Alien patrols searched for survivors, their red sensors glowing in the smoke. From the sky, Zarketh drones scanned the ruins, hunting any human movement. Aria peeked through a hole in the wall. She saw the aliens moving like shadows, their metallic skin reflecting the flames. She knew she couldn't stay there. The boy wouldn't survive another wave of attacks. "We need to move," she whispered. They slipped through the ruins, avoiding the bright searchlights. Every few steps, Aria felt a strange pulse from her bracelet, guiding her, warning her when danger was near. It was as if the device could sense her fear and respond to it. Then, from the sky, a massive ship descended, a Zarketh command craft. Its engines roared, shaking the ground. The soldiers below stopped and kneeled as Commander Vrel stepped out. He was twice the height of a man, his armor carved with alien symbols that glowed deep crimson. His face was like stone, his eyes burning with cold fire. "Find the human girl," he said, his voice echoing through the air. "She carries the energy. Bring her to me." Alive, Aria froze. They were looking for her. She grabbed Leo's hand and ran. Blaster shots cut through the smoke behind them. Sparks flew. Buildings crumbled. She ducked behind a wall, breathing hard, clutching the bracelet that now burned like fire on her wrist. Then the voice came. It wasn't human. It wasn't alien. It spoke inside her mind, soft and powerful. "Aria Vale, you have been chosen." She gasped and looked around. "Who's there?" "The light within you is not new. It is old, older than the stars. Humanity has forgotten, but we remember. The bond has awakened again." "I don't understand," she whispered. "You will, soon. The power you hold is called the Echo. It was born from humanity's first war among the stars. It was meant to protect, to guide, to rise when humanity is in danger again." Aria felt her breath quicken. "Why me?" "Because you are not afraid. The light answers courage." Suddenly, the wall beside her exploded. Aliens surrounded her. Leo screamed. Aria stood in front of him, raising her hands without thinking. The bracelet flared. Pure white light burst from her palms, forming a glowing barrier that stopped every blast. The alien stepped back, shocked. Her fear turned into strength. She pushed forward, and the light moved like liquid, slamming into the attackers. They flew backward, their weapons shattering. When the light faded, the ground was silent again. Only smoke and wind remained. Leo stared at her, eyes wide. "You're like magic." Aria looked down at her hands, still glowing faintly. "No, not magic," she said softly. "Something human. Something we lost." She didn't know how she knew that, but deep inside she felt the truth. The Echo wasn't alien. It was human power, something ancient sleeping in their DNA, waiting for someone brave enough to wake it. As the night went on, Aria and Leo reached the old underground tunnels beneath New Gaia. There, they found more survivors, engineers, soldiers, families, all scared and lost. When Aria entered, everyone stared. They had heard the rumors, the girl who fought back, the one who glowed with light. A soldier approached her. "You're the one, aren't you? The aliens are terrified of you." "I'm just trying to protect people," she said. He smiled faintly. "Then maybe you're exactly what we need." That night, as the survivors planned their next move, Aria sat alone by the tunnel wall. The boy slept beside her, his head on her arm. In the distance, the sound of explosions continued. She looked at the bracelet. Its light pulsed softly like a heartbeat. "You are not alone," the voice whispered again. "Others will come. Others like you." Aria didn't know if it meant other humans or something else. But for the first time since the war began, she felt something powerful inside her chest. Hope. The girl who once hid under school ruins now carried the weight of an entire species. And somewhere above the clouds, Commander Vral watched her through his ship's sensors. "So, and the humans have secrets," he said with a cold smile. "Then we will burn their secrets along with their world." He turned to his soldiers. "Prepare the main cannon. I want the light girl alive. The rest, destroy them all." Far below, Aria opened her eyes again. She didn't know why, but she felt his words. Something dark was coming, and she was ready. The tunnels beneath New Gaia stretched for miles. They were old mining passages from the first human settlers, carved deep under the planet's surface. Now they were the only safe place left. The walls dripped with water. The lights flickered weakly, running on backup power. The air smelled of metal, smoke, and fear. Aria walked through the tunnels with Leo beside her. The survivors looked at her as she passed, some with hope, some with disbelief. She could feel their eyes on the glowing bracelet around her wrist. An older woman stopped her. "Are you the one who fought them? The girl with the light?" Aria nodded slowly. The woman smiled, tears shining in her eyes. "Then maybe humanity isn't finished yet." Deeper inside, the tunnels opened into a large chamber filled with people. There were injured soldiers, engineers, scientists, even children. They had built makeshift shelters from broken panels and ship parts. A man stood at the center, tall, wearing an old Earth Fleet jacket. His hair was silver, his eyes sharp. When he saw Aria, he stepped forward. "I'm Captain Rhett Darrow," he said. "Former fleet commander? I heard what you did up there. You destroyed a Zarketh squad alone?" Aria hesitated. "I didn't mean to, it just happened." Rhett studied her. "That power of yours, we've never seen anything like it. The Zarketh are terrified. They've pulled half their troops from the north just to find you." She frowned. "Then we don't have much time," Rhett nodded. "We've been trying to fight back, but we're outnumbered and low on supplies. Still, we have one advantage: the old human signal network." He pointed to a holographic map projected on the wall. It showed faint lines across the planet. Underground nodes, old satellites, and relay towers. "If we can reach one of these relay towers," he said, "we can send a message to other colonies. Maybe even to Earth itself. But we need power and we need protection. That's where you come in." Aria looked at the map. "You think I can protect you?" He smiled faintly. "You already did once. I believe you can do it again." Leo tugged her sleeve. "You can do it, Aria," she nodded. "Then let's try." The next morning, a small team prepared to leave the tunnels. Rhett, 2 soldiers, a medic, and Aria. Their goal: reach the northern relay tower hidden in the mountains. The path was dangerous, crawling with Zarketh patrols. Before leaving, the old woman from before handed Aria a small silver pendant. "This belonged to my daughter," she said softly. "She believed humans could do anything." Make sure her belief was right. Aria held it tightly. "I will." As they climbed out of the tunnels, the world above greeted them with silence and ash. The city was gone. Only shadows of buildings stood. The wind carried the smell of fire. The sky was gray, filled with drifting smoke. They moved carefully, staying low, using ruins for cover. Drones buzzed overhead like metal insects. Rhett whispered, "They're searching every sector. We have to move fast." They reached the edge of the forest by nightfall. The trees were blackened from the bombardment, but still standing. It was quiet and too quiet. Suddenly, the bracelet on Aria's wrist began to glow faintly again. She froze. "They're close," she whispered. Seconds later, a Zarketh scout unit appeared through the trees. Red eyes gleamed. Their rifles aimed forward. Rhett cursed, "Run!" They sprinted between the trees, blaster shots slicing through the air. One soldier fell, another shouted in pain. Aria turned back. She couldn't leave them. She raised her hands. The light burst out again, brighter than before. It wrapped around her like wings made of energy. The shots melted in midair. The alien stopped, confused and then frightened. She stepped forward, eyes glowing white. The ground cracked beneath her feet as energy pulsed out, knocking the aliens off their feet. When the light faded, the forest was quiet again. Rhett stared at her. "You're incredible," Aria shook her head. "I'm just scared." "But I can't stop it. It's like the light protects me when I need it most." The medic checked the wounded soldier. "He's alive, thanks to you." They carried him the rest of the way to the mountains. By dawn, they reached the relay tower, a massive structure of steel half buried in snow and rock. It was damaged but still standing. Rhett looked at it with relief. "If we can power this up, we can contact the other colonies." Aria placed her hand on the control panel. The bracelet glowed again, and the tower lights flickered on as if recognizing her touch. Rhett stared. "You just powered a whole relay with your energy." Aria smiled faintly. "Maybe it wants to help." Then the signal burst through, a faint transmission across the static. A human voice. "This is Earth Command. New Gaia, do you read? We thought you were lost." Rhett's eyes widened. "They heard us!" Before he could reply, the sky above them roared. Dozens of Zarketh ships appeared through the clouds. Aria felt the ground shake. "They found us." Rhett shouted, "Everyone inside now." The mountain echoed with explosions as the aliens fired from orbit. Aria turned toward the fire, her heart pounding. She could hear the voice in her mind again. "You cannot run forever, stand." She clenched her fists as light flared from her bracelet, rising like flames around her. The others looked back in awe. Rhett whispered, "What are you?" Aria looked up at the alien ships and said quietly, "I'm human." And with that, the sky turned white. The mountains shook as fire rained from the sky. The Zarketh warships circled above the clouds, their cannons blazing with red light. Each blast hit the rocks around the relay tower, throwing waves of snow and dust into the air. Inside the tower, alarms screamed. The floor trembled under their feet. Rhett shouted over the noise, "We can't hold here much longer." The human survivors ran between the control panels trying to stabilize the power lines. Sparks flew from the walls. The medic held the wounded soldier close while Leo hid behind a broken console, his hands covering his ears. Aria stood near the entrance, her bracelet glowing brighter with every explosion. Her pulse matched the rhythm of the light, calm but powerful. "Aria," Rhett called. "The signal is almost through, but the tower's shields are gone. If we don't stop those ships, we'll lose everything." She looked up at the sky through the cracked dome. "I'll stop them," she said quietly. Rhett stared at her. "You can't fight a fleet." Aria turned her head slightly, her eyes calm but fierce. "I have to try." Before he could stop her, she ran out into the snow. The cold wind whipped through her hair as she stepped into the open. The mountain's edge dropped away into mist below. The Zarketh ships hovered like dark giants in the sky, their engines growling. Aria raised her hand. The bracelet blazed with white light that spread through her body until her whole form shimmered. The voice in her mind returned, and the strong, clear, ancient. "Do not fear the storm, child of Earth. You are the storm." The nearest warship fired. The beam struck the ground in front of her, exploding in a wave of fire. But when the smoke cleared, Aria still stood untouched. A bright shield shimmered around her, bending the light like glass. She lifted both hands. The energy within her surged higher, brighter, faster. A beam of pure white shot from her palms, slicing through the sky like lightning. It struck the warship squarely in its center. For a heartbeat, nothing happened. Then the ship exploded. A brilliant flash that turned night into day. The others in the tower gasped as they watched through the cameras. "She destroyed it," Rhett whispered. "A human destroyed a Zarketh warship." Leo smiled for the first time since the invasion. "I knew she could." But above them, the remaining ships changed formation. They began to circle, preparing for a combined strike. Aria fell to one knee, breathing hard. Her body trembled from the power she had released. The light around her dimmed for a moment. Then, deep in her mind, she saw something. Not a vision, but a memory. Flashes of tall humans wearing silver armor, standing under strange suns. Massive ships with the same symbol as her bracelet carved on their sides. A voice echoing through time. "The echo will sleep until humanity needs it again." She gasped. These weren't dreams. They were fragments of history, of an ancient war long forgotten. Humanity had once walked among the stars. They had built wonders. But something happened, something that made them lose everything. And now, through her, that legacy was waking up. Back inside the tower, Rhett managed to stabilize the connection. Earth Command's signal grew stronger. "This is Earth Command to any survivors of New Gaia." A voice crackled through. "We received your transmission. Reinforcements are being prepared, but we need coordinates." Rhett shouted into the mic, "This is Captain Rhett Darrow. We're under attack by Zarketh forces. Sending location now." Static answered. And then silence. The entire tower shuddered. A direct hit slammed into the mountainside. Rhett looked out the window. Half the ridge was collapsing. "We have to evacuate." But before he could order it, Aria appeared in the doorway again. Her eyes glowed faintly, her steps slow but steady. "They're not leaving," she said softly. "Not until I stop them." Rhett shook his head. "You'll die out there." Aria smiled faintly. "Maybe. But if I don't, everyone else will." She turned back toward the blinding light outside. The ships fired together, a storm of red fire falling toward her. She lifted her hands again, but this time she didn't fight the power. She let it flow through her completely. The ground cracked open. Wind roared around her like a living thing. Her hair lifted in the storm of energy as the light formed into huge wings behind her, made of fire, light, and electricity. The combined alien blasts struck her shield and scattered like sparks in the rain. The white light grew brighter, expanding outward until it swallowed the entire mountaintop. From orbit, the Zarketh fleet detected a massive energy surge, bigger than any weapon they had ever seen. Then the signal disappeared. When the dust settled, the warships were gone. The sky was quiet. The snow fell again, soft and gentle. Inside the relay tower, survivors slowly opened their eyes. The walls were cracked, the power flickering, but they were still alive. Leo ran to the entrance, calling her name. "Aria! Aria!" Through the fading mist, a figure walked back up the slope. Aria was covered in ash, her clothes torn, her energy dim, but she was alive. Rhett helped her inside. "You did it," he said softly. She nodded weakly. "We sent the signal?" "Yes," he said. "Earth knows. Help is coming." Aria looked out at the distant horizon where the stars were slowly returning. For the first time, the darkness didn't feel endless, but deep in the void beyond the reach of their scanners, something else had heard the energy pulse, something older than the Zarketh, something that remembered humanity from long ago. A distant voice echoed through space. "The echo has awakened again. The humans rise once more." And far away, unseen by any of them, another light answered. The storm was only beginning. The sky above New Gaia was finally calm. For the first time in weeks, there were no alien ships, no thunder of weapons, and only silence. The mountains still smoked, but the fire had stopped. The survivors inside the relay tower rested, broken but alive. Aria lay on a makeshift bed near the power console. Her body was weak, her skin pale, but the bracelet on her wrist still glowed faintly. Every few seconds it pulsed like a heartbeat. Captain Rhett Darrow sat beside her, arms folded. He hadn't slept. "You saved us all," he said quietly. "You brought down their fleet." Aria shook her head slowly. "I didn't save everyone. Too many are gone." He sighed. "You did what no one else could. You gave us hope." The sound of static filled the air. The relay console flickered, a transmission trying to break through. Rhett rushed to it. "This is New Gaia. We're reading your signal." The screen glowed with a faint human logo, the old emblem of Earth Command. Then a voice came through, clear and firm. "This is Admiral Solon Graves of Earth Command. We received your distress call. Reinforcements are on their way." Rhett's eyes widened. "Admiral, you have no idea how glad we are to hear your voice." "We're tracking your energy pulse," the Admiral said. "Whatever you did lit up every sensor in the solar network. The Zarketh fleet is retreating, but others may come. We need to understand what caused that signal." Rhett looked toward Aria. "You'll want to speak to her." The Admiral's voice lowered. "Her?" Rhett nodded. "Her name is Aria Vale. She's human, but she can do things we've never seen before." The screen was silent for a moment. Then the Admiral said, "We know that name." Everyone turned to look at him. "What do you mean?" Red asked. "Aria Vale. That name is registered in the old Earth databases. It's connected to a classified project, Echogenesis. That program was lost more than 300 years ago." Aria slowly sat up. "Echogenesis," she whispered. "It was humanity's final defense project before the Great Collapse," the Admiral continued. "When we lost our star colonies, Earth scientists tried to preserve human potential, our strength, our adaptability, our memory. They built something into our DNA, a code meant to awaken only when humanity faced extinction." Rhett stared at Aria in disbelief. "You mean she's part of that?" "Not just part," the Admiral said. "She is the first activation in centuries. The Echo is alive again." Aria's hands trembled. She looked at her bracelet, feeling the pulse inside it match her heart. "So this power isn't alien?" "No," said the Admiral. "It's human. The Zarketh feared it long ago. They thought they destroyed every trace of it. But somehow the code survived, hidden in our bloodlines, waiting for someone like you." Leo's small voice broke the silence. "Then that means humans were powerful once?" Rhett nodded slowly. "More powerful than anyone remembers." Aria stood, still unsteady but determined. "If this echo is inside me, maybe others have it too. Maybe it's not just me." The Admiral replied, "That's exactly what we're trying to confirm. We detected similar energy signatures from other colonies. The echo might be waking everywhere." A quiet excitement filled the room. The survivors looked at each other. The idea that they were not alone lit a spark in their hearts. But then the Admiral's tone changed. "There's something else you need to know. The Zarketh aren't acting alone. We've intercepted transmissions from another species, something older. We call them the Vossar Dominion. They are coming for the Echo." Rhett frowned. "Who are they?" "Ancient enemies of humanity," the Admiral said grimly. "They were the reason the Echo was created in the first place. If they're returning, then the war that destroyed our first empire might be starting again." The transmission ended with static. Silence filled the tower once more. Aria looked out through the broken window toward the stars. Her reflection shimmered faintly in the glass, the bracelet glowing brighter. "So it's not over," she said softly. "It's just beginning." Rhett stepped beside her. "If what the Admiral said is true, we'll need every survivor we can find. We'll rebuild our fleet." Aria nodded. "And I'll find the others like me." Leo looked up. "You mean there are more people with light?" She smiled gently. "I think there are. Somewhere out there." Days later, New Gaia began to rebuild. The survivors worked together, clearing rubble, fixing power systems, sending more signals across the galaxy. For the first time since the invasion, laughter returned to the tunnels. But Aria couldn't rest. The voice inside her still spoke sometimes. Faint, like an echo from far away. "Others will awaken soon. You must be ready." One night she climbed to the top of the ruined relay tower. The stars shimmered above, clearer than ever. Somewhere beyond them, Earthships were already on their way. She opened her hand. The bracelet projected a holographic symbol, the same symbol she had seen in her vision. A circle split by light and shadow. The words Echogenesis appeared beneath it. Aria stared at it, her breath catching. "What are you trying to show me?" she whispered. Then, without warning, the hologram shifted, showing a map of the galaxy. Dozens of points of light appeared, each one pulsing like her bracelet. She wasn't alone. Her eyes widened. "There are more of us." Behind her, Rhett's voice came softly. "What did you find?" Aria turned to him, her expression fierce but full of hope. "A signal. Not just from Earth, from everywhere. The echo is spreading." Far away, deep in the darkness between stars, another voice spoke. Not human, not kind. "They awaken again. The humans rise. Then we will finish what we started. The Vossar Dominion had heard the call, and the second war for humanity's survival was about to begin. The stars above New Gaia glowed brighter now, filled with the faint shimmer of new signals. The message Aria had discovered in her bracelet continued to flash on the relay tower screen. Dozens of light points scattered across the galaxy, pulsing in rhythm with her heartbeat. Each pulse meant the same thing. Another echo had awakened. Captain Rhett Darrow stood beside her, staring at the map in disbelief. Every one of those is a human colony. Aria nodded. Not just colonies. Some are ships. Some might even be old Earth outposts. Places we thought were gone. Leo looked up at the glowing hologram. So there are more people like you out there? Maybe not like me, she said softly, but they have the same power sleeping inside them. The same echo. Rhett crossed his arms. If the Vossar Dominion knows that, they'll hit those worlds next. We can't wait for Earth's reinforcements. We have to warn them ourselves. Aria's bracelet flickered again, and a soft, distant voice echoed in her mind. The others are awakening. You must unite them, before the Vossar reach them. She blinked, feeling the pulse grow stronger. The signal is guiding me, she whispered. Rhett frowned. Guiding you where? Aria turned toward the stars. To them. 3 days later, the survivors of New Gaia launched their first rebuilt ship, an old cargo freighter renamed the Dawnstar. Its engines coughed smoke but held steady. It wasn't fast, but it could fly. Aria stood at the bridge window as the planet grew smaller behind them. For the first time she left New Gaia, the place where her life had changed forever. Leo waved from the seat beside her. We're really going to space? She smiled. Yes, to find others like us. Rhett sat in the captain's chair, his hands steady on the controls. Destination locked. Nearest echo signal 2 light days away. Colony code, Ardent 12. As the engines roared to life, Aria felt the familiar hum in her chest, the echo inside her reacting to the ship's systems. Lights flickered across the panels as if the ship itself could sense her presence. Engaging warp, Rhett said. The stars stretched into white lines as the Dawnstar jumped into the void. 2 days later, they arrived at the Ardent 12 colony, or what was left of it. The planet below was covered in smoke. Entire cities had been reduced to black scars on the surface. The orbit was filled with wreckage, destroyed satellites, broken ships, and drifting metal. Rhett's voice dropped. We're too late. Aria closed her eyes. She could still feel a faint pulse in the distance, weak, fading, but still alive. No, she whispered. Someone's still down there. The ship descended through the burning clouds. They landed in the ruins of what once was a city. The air was heavy with ash. As they stepped out, the bracelet on Aria's wrist began to glow again. The closer she walked toward the center of the ruins, the stronger the light became. Suddenly, the ground shifted. A shockwave rippled through the street, throwing dust into the air. From beneath the rubble, a bright blue light burst upward. Not from her, but from someone else. A young man stumbled out of the debris, his eyes glowing faintly like hers. His uniform was torn, his face covered in soot. He looked at her with surprise. You have the light too? Aria nodded slowly. You're one of us. He took a step closer, still breathing hard. I'm Kale Rin, captain of the Ardent Defense Corps. I thought I was the only one left. You're not, Aria said. The echo has awakened across the stars. We're finding each other now. Before Kale could answer, a loud screech filled the air. The clouds above began to twist and darken. Rhett looked up. Incoming! From the sky descended dark ships unlike the Zarketh. Smoother, black as shadow, their engines silent. Kyle's eyes widened in fear. The Vossar. They came back. Aria felt the pulse in her chest grow hot. The light inside her flared as the alien ships descended closer, their hulls covered in strange symbols that shimmered like liquid. She turned to Rhett. Get Leo to safety. I'll hold them off. Rhett grabbed her arm. You can't fight them alone. I won't be alone, she said, glancing at Kale. He's like me. Kale nodded, stepping forward beside her. Let's show them what humans can do. The two of them raised their hands as the first wave of Vossar drones appeared, firing beams of dark energy. Aria's light burst outward, forming a wide barrier. Kale's energy was different, sharper, blue-white like lightning. When their powers met, the air cracked with thunder. Together, they pushed back the first attack, destroying the lead drone in a single strike. Rhett watched in awe as the humans stood side by side, their lights glowing brighter than the fire around them. Leo whispered, "They look like stars," but the sky filled with more ships, hundreds of them. The ground shook as they prepared for another assault. Kale looked at Aria. "We can't win this." Aria's eyes burned with determination. "Maybe not today, but we'll show them what humanity really is." They pressed their hands together, and their combined energy erupted upward, creating a massive wave of light that reached orbit, a signal seen across nearby worlds. Every echo in the galaxy felt it. Every human who carried the sleeping code stirred. In distant colonies, on forgotten moons across ruined fleets, people awoke to glowing light in their hands, eyes or hearts. The echo was spreading. When the blast faded, Aria and Kale stood amid silence. The Vossar ships had retreated, their black hulls vanishing into the clouds. Rhett ran to them, shaking his head in disbelief. "You two just saved a world," Kale smiled weakly. "No, we just woke it up." Aria looked up at the stars again, feeling the pulse of countless others calling out in the darkness. "We're not alone anymore," she whispered. "And the galaxy's about to remember who humans really are." But far away in the endless void, the Vossar Dominion gathered their fleets, billions strong. Their leader watched the human light spreading like wildfire across the stars. "They rise again," the dark voice said. "Then we will burn the light from the sky." The final war for humanity's survival had begun. The light of the echo spread across the galaxy like dawn, breaking after endless night. Every world that still had humans, every forgotten outpost, every drifting ship, saw the same pulse in the sky. A message. A call to rise. Aria Vale had sent that call with Kale Rin on the ruined world of Ardent 12. Now, their signal had reached millions. The Dawn Star floated in orbit above Ardent 12, surrounded by a growing fleet of human ships. Some were old, rusted freighters repaired with scavenged parts. Others were warships reactivated from ancient storage yards. But they all flew under one new banner, the Human Resistance Fleet. Inside the command deck, Captain Rhett Darrow stood beside Aria and Kale, looking out at the stars. 10 more ships arrived from the Vega sector this morning, Rhett said. And 3 from Mars Relay. They're small, but every ship counts. Kale crossed his arms. The Vossar will bring thousands of warships. We barely have 100, Rhett gave a grim smile. Then we'll fight smarter. Aria didn't speak. Her bracelet pulsed softly with light. It felt stronger every day, not just her own energy, but the connection to others like her. Somewhere across the stars, more humans were awakening. Each pulse she felt was another life, another light ready to fight. "The Echo Network is forming," she said quietly. "We're connected now. I can feel them." "All of them." Kyle looked at her. "You mean you can talk to them?" "Not with words," she replied. "It's more like emotion, a shared will. We all want the same thing, to survive, to protect what's left of us." Rhett nodded. "Then let's give the galaxy something it'll never forget." Hours later, the fleet gathered near the ruined moons of the Vossar frontier. The plan was dangerous. Strike a Vossar command relay, cut off their communications, and slow their invasion. On the Dawn Star, the crew worked fast. The engines hummed, weapons systems charged, and every human heart aboard beat with a mix of fear and courage. Leo, now wearing a small pilot's headset, sat beside Aria. "Are you scared?" he asked. She smiled gently. "A little. But being scared doesn't mean you stop." Outside the window, the Vossar ships appeared, black shapes cutting through the stars. Their hulls rippled like shadows alive with red veins. Kale's voice came over the comm. "This is Kale of the Ardent Squadron. We hit them fast and draw them out. Aria, you and Rhett take the core." Rhett replied, "Copy that. Let's make history." The battle began. The blackness of space lit up with color. Blue thrusters, red explosions, white flares of human light. Human ships darted between Vossar cruisers like sparks against a storm. The Vossar had numbers. The humans had something else: unity, desperation, and the newly awakened echoes guiding them. Aria stood at the ship's front console, eyes glowing faintly. The Dawn Star's shield shimmered brighter than ever, pulsing with her energy. When she raised her hand, the shields bent enemy fire away, redirecting blasts into the Vossar ships themselves. Rhett shouted, "You're making the ship fight back." She focused harder, sweat on her forehead. "The echo isn't just inside us," she said. "It's in everything we touch. Humanity built these ships. The echo remembers." Kale's voice cut through the static. "I've got their relay in sight. We need 30 more seconds." "Hold them off!" Rhett yelled. Aria reached deeper into the power, the light from her bracelet spreading through the entire ship like veins of energy. Every human aboard felt it. Warmth, courage, connection. When she spoke, her voice carried through the fleet's comms, calm and clear. "This is Aria Vale. You are not weak. You are not forgotten. You are human, and today the galaxy will remember that name." Her words echoed through every ship. Soldiers cried out in defiance. Pilots cheered, engineers clenched their fists and pushed their failing engines to life. Kale's squadron dove straight into the relay's defense grid. His blue light burst outward, cutting through the dark energy shields. "Almost there," he shouted. Then a massive shadow appeared, the flagship of the Vossar Dominion. It was enormous, shaped like a black serpent made of steel, its hull glowing with crimson symbols. Rhett's face turned pale. "That's not a ship. That's a city." The Vossar flagship opened its maw, a superweapon charging to wipe out the entire human fleet. Aria's bracelet flared so bright it hurt to look at. She felt the fear across every ship. The echo pulsed, responding to it, feeding not on rage but on unity. "Everyone focus," she said. "Don't fight alone. Think together." The fleet obeyed. Dozens of awakened humans focused their light. The energy merged, golden, blue, white, twisting together into one massive pulse that stretched across ships and hearts alike. Aria raised her arms. "Now!" The echo pulse fired. A wave of human light erupted from the Dawn Star, spreading across the fleet and slamming into the Vossar flagship. The dark weapon shattered mid-charge. The explosion lit up half the sky, pure light against endless shadow. When it faded, silence filled space. The humans had won, for now. Hours later, the damaged ships regrouped near a quiet asteroid field. The survivors gathered on comms, voices filled with exhaustion and pride. Kyle's face appeared on the holoscreen, smiling weakly. "We did it. The relay's gone. The Vossar will take weeks to rebuild." Rhett leaned back in his chair, exhaling. "Not bad for a bunch of harmless humans." Leo grinned. "We're heroes now." Aria didn't smile. She looked out at the stars again, her light fading softly. She could still feel something out there, and not victory, not peace, but movement. "The storm is coming," the voice whispered in her mind. Aria whispered back, "Then we'll face it together." The stars glimmered around the battered fleet. The rising alliance was born, fragile, fierce, and full of fire, and deep within the darkness the Vossar Supreme Commander opened his eyes in his throne of glass. "The humans have remembered who they are," he said coldly. "Then so shall we." The final battle was waiting. The stars were no longer silent. All across the galaxy the human signal pulsed, steady, bright, alive. The echo had awakened in millions, but with the light came the shadow. From the far reaches of the void, the Vossar Dominion gathered. Their fleets covered entire systems, black and endless. Their ships blotted out suns. Their weapons glowed like dying stars. At the center of it all was their supreme commander, a being of pure dark energy wrapped in armor made of living metal. His eyes burned like molten glass. "The humans have risen again," he said, his voice echoing across the fleet. "They have forgotten their place. Let us remind them." The final war had begun. On the bridge of the Dawn Star, Captain Rhett Darrow stood beside Aria Vale and Kale Rin. The human resistance fleet stretched before them, thousands of ships now, each one carrying people who had once been powerless, now united under one light. Rhett adjusted his headset. "Vega fleet reporting ready. Mars carriers holding position. Luna squadron awaiting orders." Aria's bracelet pulsed brighter than ever. She could feel every echo user across the fleet. Their fear, their courage, their determination. It was like one shared heartbeat echoing through the stars. Kale stepped closer to her. "They're coming. Billions of them." Aria nodded. "Then we'll give them something worth remembering." The first wave of Vossar ships appeared, black lines cutting across the horizon. Their weapons charged, humming with power that could destroy planets. Rhett muttered. If we fall here, humanity falls with us. Aria closed her eyes. The voice within her spoke one last time, calm and ancient. This is the purpose of the echo, to unite what was broken, to light what was lost. She opened her eyes. All ships, prepared to engage. The universe exploded with light. The battle stretched across 1,000 kilometers of space. Beams, explosions, and streaks of burning debris painting the stars. The humans fought with everything they had. Every pilot, every engineer, every awakened echo burned their strength like fire through the void. Aria stood at the center of it all, her light spreading across the fleet. When ships faltered, she felt it. When soldiers fell, she sent them strength. She wasn't just fighting. She was leading through connection. Kale's squadron dove into the Vossar formation, his blue lightning tearing through enemy shields. "We're breaking their lines," he shouted, but then the shadow fell. The Vossar flagship, larger than a moon, emerged from the void. Its surface rippled like oil, and its weapon core began to glow with black light. Rhett's eyes widened. That thing's charging a singularity cannon. If it fires, it'll wipe out the entire fleet. Aria gripped the console. She could feel the weapon's energy building, cold, endless, unstoppable. Kyle's voice cracked through the comm. "What do we do, Aria?" She looked down at her glowing bracelet, feeling it burn against her skin. The truth came to her in a rush of light and memory. The echo wasn't just power, it was connection. It was the memory of every human who had ever lived, the courage of those who came before, the hope of those still to come. "We end this together," she said softly. She opened the ship's wideband channel. Her voice echoed through every human vessel, every mind linked by the echo. "Listen to me. You are all part of this light. Every one of you carries it. The Vossar think they can erase us, but they've forgotten. Humanity doesn't vanish. We evolve." Silence filled the fleet. Then came the answer. Millions of voices through the comms. "For humanity." Aria stepped forward, light bursting from her hands. The bracelet cracked and energy flowed through her body like fire and thunder. It spread outward, connecting her to the fleet. To Rhett, Kale, Leo, and every soul still fighting. The human ships glowed with new strength, their engines flaring like stars. Together they focused their power toward the Vossar flagship. The Supreme Commander watched from his throne. "Futile," he hissed. "You cannot fight the void." But then the light came. A wave of energy, golden, white, and blue, surged across the darkness. It tore through the Vossar armada, unraveling their ships like shadows burned by the sun. The flagship's weapon shattered. Its dark energy turned inward, collapsing upon itself. The explosion was so bright it blinded half the sky. For a moment there was only silence. Then, the light faded, leaving nothing but stars. Hours later, the battlefield was quiet. The Vossar fleet was gone, erased, scattered, or fled into the black. The human resistance fleet drifted among the wreckage, battered but alive. Kyle's voice came softly through the comm. "It's over. We did it." Rhett leaned back in his chair, tears in his eyes. "We actually won." But when they looked to where Aria had stood, she was gone. Only her bracelet floated in the air, glowing faintly before it dimmed and fell. Leo reached out and caught it, holding it against his chest. "She's not gone," he whispered. "She's part of the light now." Across the fleet, the echoes continued to pulse, proof that Aria's connection lived on through every awakened human. Kale looked out at the stars. "She gave us more than victory. She gave us a future," Rhett nodded quietly. "And the galaxy finally knows. Humans were never harmless." Years later, under a new dawn, a rebuilt Earth sent its first explorers back into the stars. The story of Aria Vale became legend, the girl who carried humanity's light and proved that even in darkness, the smallest spark could ignite a universe. Somewhere in the endless sea of stars, a faint whisper echoed through the void. The light never dies. And with that, the galaxy remembered forever. They thought humans were harmless. One girl proved them dead wrong.